Good morning, everyone. This is me, Warren Ebelakog, BT1A. Our topic is all about nonverbal communication. So, nonverbal communication it is transfer or meaningful and information from the one person to another by means of other that writing or spoken. So, nonverbal communication is includes facial expressions, the tone of the voice or the pitch, and gestures and display through the body of language is our the kinetic and the physical distance between the communication and proximity. So there's non-verbal signals can give a clues and additional information of meaning over and above spoken or verbal communications. So non-verbal communications help people to first is reinforce or modify what is said in the words. Second is convey information about their emotional state. Number three is define or reinforce the relationship between people. Number four is provide a feedback to the other person. So number five is regulate the flow of communication. So reinforce or modify what is said in the words. For example, people may nod their heads or vigorously when saying yes to emphasize that they agree, and with a person to shrug of the shoulders and said expression when saying I'm fine, thanks, and me actually. Uh, that things uh, that things may be actually to imply that things are not really to fine at all. Another example, or imagine the saying I am fine and wear a smile, but their crossed and arms or tense or posture or non-verbal suggests that they may not be entirely okay. So convey number two is convey the information about their emotional state. So convey is their uh, emotional state is the facial expressions, your tone or your voice and or your body or language you can often or people exactly and how you feel, even if you hardly use a word or consider that you have a said to someone. So another example, a person are tearing up while talking about the sad experience, providing a clear or non-verbal signals of their emotional or distress. That is the conveyed information about their emotional state. So number three is define or reinforce that relationship between people, and for that is if you have if you have ever watched a couple sitting or talking, and in your you may have to notice that they end to the mirror each of the body of language. They hold their hands and similar and position. They smile and the same time and turn to face each other more fully. These movements so reinforce their relationship they build and rapport help to feel more connected. So example, like friends hugging when you they meet are expressing they is have a non-verbal closeness that is a reinforce their strong bond. So number four is provide feedback to other person. So smile or nudes feel or someone that you're listening to agree when what they are saying or movements and hand or gestures to indicate that which to speak. This subtitle or signals give information gently but clearly. For example, or nodding or agreement during the conversation or indicating non-verbal that they understand and I agree then with what the other person is saying. So that is the provide feedback to the other person. So number five is regulate the flow of communication. there's a number of signals we use to people to finish our speaking. So example, making eye contact to signal that you that's your turn to as a speaker, to nodding to encourage the speaker to continues without interruption. So eye contact or meeting or slight or to indicate that you are which to speak. That is the non-verbal communication to help people to. Okay, types of non-verbal communication. There are many different types of non-verbal communication. There include kinesthetic. First is kinesthetic. So, the technical name of interpretation that comes with motion with someone to communicate is called kinetic. Like body movements, or postures, and eye contact. That is the way of kinesthetic. It is the interpretation that comes that motion for someone to communicate is called kinetic. So they have body of movements, postures, eye contact, facial expression, and psychological change. So body movements, for example, the gestures are nodding or shaking the head, and which is are often and the easiest element of nonverbal communication to control. The posture, how you stand or sit, whether your arms crossed, and so on. So posture is observing someone or crossing that arms or sales ladies, and before engaging that conversation to convey the sense of formality of informality, formality or informality. And the eye contact is where amount of eye contact is to determine the level of trust and trustworthiness. So eye contact is you look or a contact during the serious conversation may indicate discomfort with a person to discuss the topic. Muna siya is the eye contact to na mo they have a communication. So facial expression is including uh, mm, smiling, frowning, or blinking, which is very hard to control constantly to intensely to broad facial expressions that show a strong emotion such as anger and happiness, and there's some throughout the world. So by psychological change, for example, you may a sweet or blink more than you have you nervous, and your heart so rate is also like to increase. So there's almost impossible to control this constantly. Therefore it's very important to educate a mental state, um, because physical like increase heart rate, so heart trembling can by psychological to indicators to emotions just nervous or fears. So okay, next is number two is paralanguage, the use of voice or aspect as a voice, a part of speech as a pitch, tone, and speed of speaking. The voice should have intelligibility, variety, and stress. So first is intelligibility, pertains of loudness of the voice, rate of your speech, pronunciation. So intelligibility, for example, some ask me, how are you doing today? I answer, I'm fine. I heard to tone my voice. My tone was a lighter, and me experience was a lighter, or so that means I will can truly to find. And but when I go to find, there's underlying to message that I said to underlying the message, the word to something not okay, but you say that words too. That is the intelligibility for me. And second is a variety, refers to the pitch of words and poses. So, for example, when you're talking about someone, dapat we're going to to stop or to pause, because if you're continuing the we have you talk about some person to minimize and we're going to understand, mas masabtan pa nato siya. For example, we are excited to bakasyon, but rather that continue, because then our speed of your own something good and about and happen. So slow down para mas observe ang message and to understand. So number three is stressed. So this emphasize that put of certainly to syllable, and putting or so much stressed and might be considered as some all cultures that should have used judiciously and sprintly. Uh, like stress, there are many of ang stress, they have a lot of syllables. There's a many two or syllables, the words of English that can be changed, and also change a part of speech of the word. For example, present or gift, present to give something to someone. That is for me, stress is to emphasize your put of syllables or words that putting much of stress is considered as an cultures.